Hey guys, here we are with another tactics training session on Chessity. Um, kind of enjoying doing these, and it's really helping my thought process with regard to the tactics. So I hope you enjoy it as well. Okay, here we go again. We are going to do some more tactics on Chessity, and just so you can see where we start, here I am. My rating here is 1994, and we're going to go to training, and I'm going to do the medium tactics. So let's see how we do today. Okay, here is the first problem. It took me a couple minutes to get set up, but let's take a look at it here. And we see that we're not in check. I always check that first. And it is black to move. And already see we got some checking ideas here for black on b4. We also see this knight is pinned here. And I'm wondering, let's see here. Well, we're going to take a look at bishop to b4 check. I'm wondering actually if we have something. Let's just count the material. Material is actually black is down a piece. So we have to keep that into account as well. And I think I might see the answer, or at least have an idea of the answer. I'm wondering if knight takes e4 might be the first move, allowing the queen to be taken because um, white will lose his queen too to avoid checkmate. But let's see what we could do there. If knight takes e4 and let's say bishop to d2 to block, do we have anything there that might be effective? And I think we'll have, well, actually, we would have queen takes h4. So knight takes e4, and if bishop to d2, then simply queen takes h4 um, should be winning because we win a piece. Now let's take a look here. Knight takes e4, bishop takes d8, taking this queen, then bishop to b4 check, and then queen to d2 to block. Bishop takes d2 check, king to d1, and then simply something like rook takes d8. So we get a queen and a bishop for a queen, a bishop, and a knight for a queen, basically. So that looks good as well. Let's see if there's any other options. After knight takes e4, um, and remember, this bishop is being attacked as well, so leaving it there isn't necessarily an option. Um, after bishop to d2, queen takes h4. Again, that looks fine. That doesn't seem to be any follow-ups there because we could always, I guess we could get to that at the point if it gets to that point to see if knight takes d2 would be more effective as well. But I think the move here is knight takes e4, so I'm not going to spend too much time dwelling on it otherwise. Yep, bishop takes d8, and now bishop to b5 check. And we got it right. So let's keep moving here. I want to mention I had a nice conversation with one of the subscribers, Social Dogma. Talked about there are a lot of other chess tactics servers, and I think it's important to um, just remember that there's a lot of options for tactics. I like Chessity. I like Chess Tempo. I like the chess.com tactics trainer. And I think the idea is to find one that you can, that has a nice variety of problems for you to use and kind of just get consistent with it. Do something daily. And I think that'll be the case. So let's get back to the problems though. And here we see, oh, in any case, thank you very much, Social Dogma, for our conversation, and feel free to continue conversations with me. Anyways, let's take a look here. We've got black to move. White has a lot of pressure here, is threatening um, some nasty stuff here. Um, she's threatening checkmate with rook takes g8 check, and king takes h7, and then um, queen over here to h4 would be mate. So that is the threat. So we need to do something immediately here. And let me take a look here. Well, we can't just take the queen because of, well, can we? Because after rook takes g8 check, king takes h7. I don't know if we get enough for it. Because knight takes b4. So we would have a queen and pawn for a rook and a knight. See, is there anything else that we get for it? Which is should be sufficient. So actually, can we take that? The other thing though is if we do take the queen or we do take the knight off, or I'm sorry, after he takes back here, we can move our queen, and then he would take this knight. So it would actually have two knights and a rook for a queen and a knight. So I'm not quite sure that's enough. Plus, he has a continuing pressure. So let's see here. What else can we do? Well, we could do queen takes c2 check, king takes c2, knight takes b4 check, and then if he does something like king to c3 to attack this knight, I could just go back knight to d5 check, and after the king moves, then I can take this rook, and after he takes back with that rook, I can use this rook or the king and take here. So that would be an equal exchange of rook, and it would end up a piece up, I believe. So let's see, material is even otherwise. So I think it's queen takes c2 check, king takes c2, queen takes b4 check, and then after we make sure the knight's safe, we're going to take one of these rooks. Is it worth it to take one of the rooks first? That's my only question. I think this is more forcing, so it would and puts me up. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. So I will try that. Oh, actually, no, it doesn't, because if I take this rook, then queen to f8 check will lead to mate there. So, all right, let's go for it. Okay. Excellent. Let's keep going. Okay, white to move. Let's see here. We are not in check. Our rook is being threatened. Our knight is being threatened. So it's one of these ideas here where we have two threats and how to deal with it. Well, queen takes h6 kind of comes right off here, but let's take a look at other options because I'd be threatening mate. And so that would save the knight. And then if he plays like f6 to attack it, then I can play queen takes g6 check, and then after queen to g7 to block, I could just even take it and then take here and then move my rook out of the way. So that's one option. And maybe I shouldn't look so deeply right away. We also have, do we have anything here with bishop takes? I don't think so, because this rook, I think queen takes h6 is the simple answer. I just want to take a look if there's anything better, because if I move this rook, then he just takes the knight. So I think it has to be queen takes h6 almost by elimination. So let's try it. There it is. Okay, let's see. It is black to play here. We see there is a pin on this bishop. We see there's no real threats to my king at the moment, and there's no discoveries there. Is this a problem where I just attack this bishop twice? So that's the question. I don't really see any mating attacks on my or on my opponent that I can do. Okay, let's take a look here. What if I took? Let's see. Well, so then the question would be bishop to b4 or bishop to b6. on bishop to b4. I think it's bishop to b4 because if he retreats the bishop, then I could just take the rook, and if I go bishop to b6, he could actually go bishop to a3. And Chesadine, one of the reasons I do like some of the Chesadine problems is because it gives you kind of seemingly equivalent options, but one is better because of the tactics. Actually, Chess Tempo does that as well, so they're both good sites for that. So I think it's bishop to b4, attacking the pin piece, and then I'll be able to win that the next turn. Okay. Okay, next problem. Black to play again, and we're not in check. And we see we have a few things going on here. Actually, I think I see the answer. We can see here that if this rook was not here, that we can fork the rook and the king with our knight. So very simple. We can do a clearance sacrifice, sacrificing the exchange temporarily to take out this knight, and we will end up being up a piece because we'll basically exchange rooks. But I win this piece. So let's go with that. The only other thing I should have checked on is whether there's any danger of this pawn promoting. So I guess I looked at that kind of quickly, but I think we'd be able to get back in any case. Okay. So far, so good. Okay, white to play. No real threats against my king, and my knight is pinned at the moment. So the question will be probably how to get out of this pin or some other way to win material. And I'm actually up a piece here, so that's something to take note of. Let's see, is there anything we can do that doesn't lose that piece right away? We can anywhere where we move this queen, we want to keep contact with the queen typically. If we play something like pawn takes or g4 or g4, then black could play something like g6, which would attack the pin piece here. If this pawn were not here, I could play queen to b3 check, but obviously that's not the case. Do any of the knight checks get me out of trouble? Knight to e7 check, queen takes e7 doesn't look very good. Let's see, are there any other forks that would? That's another option here, but I don't think so. This is not easy. Let's see here. See what other ideas I have here. Sometimes this is where it gets a little tricky because some of these problems is it just a situation where I try to win something for the knight, and I'm not sure. Something like queen to g3, and then if he takes the knight with the queen, then I just win this pawn and put pressure there. So that's kind of one of the neat things about these problems here. Very tricky here. I can counterattack. I could play h4, but then he would just take this with the queen, and after exchanging queens, it should be fairly even. Okay, sorry, I got interrupted by a phone call there. So getting back to this problem, I'm a little bit of a quandary. I'm almost at the point where I'm going to want to guess. That's another thing. When you're solving these problems, you can't let your ego get in the way too much in terms of wanting to stick with it. Although sometimes unless the actual exercise is to try to try to stick with the problem or your perseverance. You know what? And with that in mind, I actually do have an idea now, and that would be going back to this G4 idea because after he plays b6, I can then play something like, um, my initial idea was I could play something like queen to e3 to try to trade queens off here, but then he could just take this with check, and then I would still be in a little bit of trouble here. Um, Actually, I could play g4, and after he plays something like g6, I can play h4. And so what that does is it drives the queen away. And then does that do something? Then after that, can I offer up some type of trade? Because you can't take the knight with the queen because my pawn that would be on g4. So that's an interesting thought. So g4, b6, and then is there a way to take advantage of that? Hmm. Let's see, g4, g6, h4. So he wouldn't go here because of the check. On e7. So it looks like his only safe square in that variation would be d8. And then, okay, and then what I could do is play rook a to d1, attacking again. Because remember, my knight's attacked, but his queen is more valuable. And then if he moves to e8, I could play my other rook out, and then he can, move somewhere as well, and then I can play my knight here. So I think the answer, and it took a while to get to it, but I think it's g4, and then if he plays, now remember, if he plays something like rook takes f5, and I take back with the queen, and he takes back with his queen, then this pawn would no longer be pinned. I think that's part of the idea. So I play g4, he plays g6, then I play h4 because it's protected by the knight. He drives his queen away. Okay, if he goes to obviously he can't go to h6. If he goes to g6, then I play knight to e7 check. If he goes back to d8, then I play rook a to d1. If he plays queen to e8, I play rook f to e1. And no matter what he does after that, I can play knight to e7 check, and then move my queen out of the way. So that saves my knight. Okay, I think that's the answer. Let's take a look. Okay, just as we saw. And actually, I forgot there's a pawn here on g6, so I can't even go there. Then I play h4, and we got it right. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, black to play. Okay, nothing is really threatened on my end except for this pawn here. And we have my knight is attacking his bishop on e4. Okay, and both of these bishops are pointed at the king. Let's see here. Interesting position. Now, I wonder if, okay, so one option is just to take here. One option is just to take here. So let's see what other, what happens or what other options we have. This knight is hanging. So what if I attack that because it's protecting this bishop? The thing is, these two are this. Actually, one of the blogs that this is actually an interesting position. One of the blogs that I read is a player. It's a Tempo Schlucker's blog. He pretty much all he does at the moment is study tactics and various aspects of tactics, and he talks about the immobility of pieces, and this would be called immobility due to function because it's functioning here protecting this bishop. So I think the answer is I attack this knight here, and if he protects it, say with either the queen or the bishop, I just take it, and then when he takes back, then his knight would be hanging, or his bishop would be hanging here. And if he moves the bishop, because his bishop can't protect this knight, I just take the knight. So he's going to lose a piece either way. So The one thing he can do, of course, if I play bishop here, he can check here and then lose, at least get a pawn for the piece. Okay, so I think that's the answer. Okay, he protects both pieces, but this queen is overworked. I take there, and now I take on e4, and there it is. I'll put a link, by the way, to Tempo Schlucker's blog. Very interesting stuff. Okay, so let's see here. Black to play. Again, no threats on the king. This piece is threatened, but it's protected. And let's see here. Well, right now we have a few things happening, don't we? Let's see if we can find anything here. Well, we have this point here, e4. If I take with the knight, so my idea is take on f3, king takes f3, and then knight takes e4, which would fork the two of these two pieces, but I'm not sure if that quite works out. Two attackers, two defenders on this knight, so is there a way to drive away one of those defenders? Well, that would be part of this idea, wouldn't it? If knight takes f3, king takes f3, knight takes e4, then the queen, well, let's see, if it goes here to, if it goes to d3 to stay in contact with this knight, do I have anything? I'm not sure that I do at the moment. Well, actually I do. And I can just take d2 with check, king takes d2, and now there's only one defender, so that's the answer, I think. We just make sure there's nothing else. I can't just take this directly because of the pawn. So knight takes f3, king takes f3, knight takes e4, and then after queen to d3, which would be the only way that we can protect e3 here. Now notice that when I take on d2, it'll be with check. So knight to d3, knight takes d2 check, and either king takes d2 or queen takes d2, then, oh, I'm sorry, that doesn't work because the king is also protecting the knight. So that doesn't quite work. It's interesting. Let's see here. Oh, I do have that check there, though. Does that do anything? Oh, after knight takes d2 check, the king does have to move somewhere. If he doesn't, oh no, he just takes with the piece. So that knight will still be on f3. This is when we're looking at tactics now. We have to remember where all of our pieces are. And I actually think it still works. I actually found something else. So, oh, maybe. After knight takes e4, queen to d3, let's see here. This rook will be coming down here. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the part of tactics that's a little harder when you're looking several moves ahead. Knight takes f3. See if you can follow along. King takes f3. Knight takes e4. Now remember, this knight's no longer here, so this rook is bearing down here. Then knight takes d2 check, and now we have three attackers, including this rook on e3. So after queen takes or rook takes, then we could even go rook takes e3 check to check this king here, and then we win material. In fact, that would probably be the better way, because if we went bishop takes, then, well, actually this knight would be in the way. So that's the answer. Knight takes at f3. Okay, knight takes d4. Okay, and here we almost have it. We've got two attackers, two defenders. So we're going to take here with check. And we got it right. Okay, 8 right, no wrong. Let's see if we can finish off in style. Okay. No, well, we have a mate throw. Well, he's attacking G2, but we have the queen here protecting. We're threatening this piece, but it's protected by the knight. So is there anything we can do there? Well, looks like there are, let's see, we have also can do something like bishop to e4 to threaten this queen. Let's see here, what do we have? We also have this fork here, but does it do anything? That is the question. Lots of options here. It seems like whatever I do, I'm going to want to win this bishop or somehow use that bishop in there. So my candidates so far, I have bishop to e4. I have rook takes e4. Let's see if there's any tactics there. Knight to a5. So typically the idea here would be to dislodge this knight somehow. See if we can dislodge that somehow. Something like bishop to e4, and after the queen moves, take here on b7. After the queen takes, is there anything with this idea of knight to c5? The problem is I feel like I'm just losing material as well. After knight takes c5, rook takes, he's got a knight and a queen, and I've got bishop and my queen. So I don't think that is the answer right away, at least. But some of these ideas, sometimes what I'm finding doing these videos is, an idea that I mentioned initially, unless it happens to be the right one, somehow plays into. So it's good for me. Hopefully you're finding this helpful too, but it's good for me to talk through these tactics with you. Okay, well, what else do we have here? Somehow bring the bishop in is always attractive. Let's see here. I don't think there's anything with this skewer down the E file. And I think it totally has to do with this guy here. The problem is finding out what that is. Can I just take this? Knight takes. Then I don't have anything along here. Bishop to e4. Where can the queen go? Queen can go to b6. Queen can go to c7. Queen can go to c8. If he goes to anywhere, if he goes to d6, I'm just going to take his bishop. So he's got basically three options. Do I have anything with any of those? Well, with these two options, he's covering this square here for the knight. After I take, is there an option? Well, my friends, this is a tough one for me. I'm wondering if I could go knight to a5. And then after he takes... Oh, I think I have it. Knight to a5. And he moves the queen to stay in contact with this bishop. I take the bishop. The queen takes the bishop. And then I play queen to, or bishop to e4, which skewers the queen and the rook. And so I'm going to win the exchange. I think that's the answer. Hopefully it is. Let's see. Okay. And I take. And is that it? That is it. Okay. Well, thank you for checking this out. My first perfect score on our chess training or tactics training with Chessity. And I will talk to you soon. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for joining me again for another tactics training session. If you had any problem with any of the positions we had or any questions, please let me know in the comments. Also, let me know what other tactics resources you use, what are your favorite books, what other chess sites you go on to train your tactics. And if you enjoyed this video, please press the like button, and I'll talk to you soon.